Alright, I think the swell has already left. If you watched my video from yesterday, then I talked about how the swell was kind of getting here, and it was kind of in the evening, and then the next day, the waves are already getting smaller and the swell is kind of already left. So I did say that I thought the swell was like leaving, but I guess it's still here. I guess it's just the sets. It's not like this constant big waves coming. It's like it gets really flat, and then when the sets come, they're bigger sets than normal. So I guess the swell is still here, but I think it's probably gonna like peak. It's probably peaking today, or it might have even been yesterday. That's like right at the peak of the swell. That's when the waves are the biggest, and then before and after that it's going up or it's going down. So once it peaks, once the swell peaks, the waves will just slowly get smaller until they're back to like normal. I'm gonna try to get some clips of these waves. It's really hard to tell because I'm way up on the beach and I'm trying to zoom in as close as I can, and it just, I don't know why it looks like the waves aren't that big, but they're actually a little bit bigger than they look on camera. See, like I said, when the sets aren't coming, it's just completely flat. Alright guys, well I went for a surf session, and the swell was actually, the waves were actually a little bit bigger than they looked this morning when I came down and checked the waves. And I actually had a few good poundings and a couple of scary moments. So I'm going to pull out the bigger lens and I'm going to try to get some close-up shots of the waves, because the waves are, there are some decent size when the sets come in. And then I'm going to go home where it's not so windy, and I'm going to talk about the session a bit. Talk about how the session went. Okay, so I went out surfing, and it was definitely a bit bigger than how I made it sound like at the beginning of this video. I was like, oh, I don't think the swell made it, or oh, the swell's not really here. I was wrong, because when I got to the beach, it was in between the sets. Like there's usually sets every like 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. So I got there like right in the middle of it. So I was like, man, there's like no waves out here. And I stood there for like 5-10 minutes. I didn't see any waves. So I assumed, I shouldn't have assumed, but I assumed that the waves were a lot smaller and that there just wasn't, like the swell didn't show up. So I went back, I grabbed my surfboard and I went out surfing. And then right when I got to the beach and I started paddling out, all the sets started coming. So then I was like, okay, either it was just my imagination, or like I don't know what was going on, because when I looked at the waves there was no waves, but now that I'm paddling out there's a ton of waves. Anyways, I was just paddling out, and it took me like 5 minutes to get out, like 5-10 minutes. There was like a crazy, like every set came as I was paddling out. Anyways, got out the back. Sorry I'm not able to show all of this stuff, but my mouth mount is still broken. And then I was out the back and there was only like me and a few other people. So I was out there surfing, and I only caught like 4 or 5 waves, because you sit pretty far out and then you only catch a wave when like a set comes, because if you try to catch like little inside waves, then you'll get caught by the set and get pounded and crushed and blah blah blah. Anyways, so I was out there surfing, and then like towards the end of the session, like I didn't know it was going to be the end of the session, but after like an hour and a half, not a single time did I get caught by like the biggest set, and the waves actually ended up getting bigger. The longer I stayed out, the bigger the waves got, which was kind of weird. But I was like catching waves. I already caught a few waves. I did a few like cutbacks, a few little turns, and paddled back out. Luckily, like I said, I didn't get caught by a very massive set. And then later on, I tried to catch this little wave. It was like a medium wave compared to all the waves that were out there today. And I tried to catch it, and the wave, you know when the wave just like kind of breaks and it like takes you like super far in, but then at the end you end up not getting into the wave? Well, that happened to me, and I was trying to get into the wave. I was like, oh, I'm almost in the wave, almost in the wave. I was almost in the wave, and then I just didn't get into the wave. If I would have got into the wave, then everything would have gone fine, but of course I didn't get in the wave. And then I looked out and I just see this massive set coming. I'm like, oh great. So I like start booking, like paddling my fastest, and my dad is also out there, and we're like paddling, and my dad was a little bit further than me, but the wave, like it was like the biggest set that I'd seen all morning. Like, it was huge. Like, sometimes the waves are big, but like that wave made all the other waves, all the other times that I say the waves are big, look like small little microscopic waves. Not like microscopic, but you know what I'm saying, like smaller waves. And then I was paddling, I was like, no, I really don't want to get caught by this wave. And it just like broke, and then tons of white water. You know when like a big wave breaks, there's just like an insane amount of white water. All this white water was coming at me like, whoa. My dad and I, we threw our board, and we were like, I swam down. I guess what you can do is you can either put your head first and swim down, and that is maybe supposed to work better, but I was like in such a rush, I just like put my feet down first, and I was just like swimming underwater, just like pushing myself underwater, and the wave came and it just like grabbed me, and it just like, it felt like the wave was gonna rip my arms and legs off. It literally felt like that. So it was horrible, and it was just like pounding me, and then, oh my gosh, I'm getting so excited that I'm getting exhausted just from talking. Anyways, I was underwater, and then my dad came up. He said this later. He came up on the other side of the wave, and I was still underwater getting pounded. And then the wave kind of stopped, but it was still like pushing me all over the place, and I started trying to swim to the surface to get some air. And I was swimming and swimming and swimming. I swear, like, I couldn't get to the top, and I was swimming and swimming. I was like for a second there, I literally thought that I was gonna drown. Like, I was freaked out. I was like so scared. Like, I've had times where I thought I was gonna drown, but the waves were actually a lot smaller than this time, but I was a lot younger. But anyways, I was swimming and swimming, and usually after like no more than 5 times going like, you end up getting to the top, but I wasn't getting to the top. It was the worst feeling ever. It's just like the worst nightmare. Like, you're stuck underwater and you just can't get to the surface. Oh, and I was swimming and swimming, and then I finally, every time I kept thinking that my hand was gonna come out of the water and I was gonna be able to get up, and my hands just couldn't get to the top. I was swimming and swimming, and I swear, like, water went down my throat and up my nostrils, maybe like into my ears, and oh, it was horrible. And then as soon as I got to the top, I was like, and oh my gosh, it was the worst feeling ever. And my dad said I was underwater for like 20 seconds. He came up and he was looking, and my board was like going all over the place, and he like was looking, and I was still underwater, and then I finally came up, and I was so freaked out, and I was like grabbing onto my board, and I was like, I was having a hard time breathing. I think like water might have gone to my lungs, or I don't know what happened, but it was really bad. And then I look, and another set's coming. Oh, it's the worst feeling ever. So I had to take another set on the head, but the second set wasn't as bad. I mean, it wasn't good, obviously, but it didn't hold me under for as long. And then after that, I was trying to go in, but the worst part about it is when there's big waves, all the white water just gobbles you up, and you can't like catch the white water. So I ended up going in, and then I went home, but I was scared. Like, it felt like I was gonna drown. So, whew, it was really scary. That's one of the joys of surfing, that sometimes when the waves are bigger, it was pretty big. I guess the swell is here. Maybe the waves did that to me because I said that the swell wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but I got crushed, like creamed. I've never been held underwater for that long. That's like my new underwater record, getting pounded. And when you're getting pounded, you may know this if you surf, is a couple seconds feels like a lifetime. Like, you'll be underwater for like 5 seconds sometimes, or maybe even like just less, and it'll feel like you're underwater for like 20, 30 seconds when it actually was a lot less. So that's what happened this morning. It was a crazy way to start my day. It was craziness. But anyways, I'm exhausted from talking. I'm like, and now I'm tired. I have a quote. I think I just spent like 7 minutes talking about the 20 seconds that I was underwater. Wow. Oh, that's funny. Okay, quote. No. Whoa, where did the quote go? I can never find the quotes. Okay, this quote is, when you can't change the direction of the wind, adjust your sails. I'm pretty sure this is by H. Jackson Brown Jr. So what this quote means to me is that if you're ever doing something, maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe you're doing, it doesn't matter, like whatever it is that you're doing, if it's not going your way, then change something, and that might solve the problem. Because if you don't change anything, it's gonna keep going not your way. But if you do change something, you might solve it. And that could even be just like your outlook, the way you look at what it is that's going on. So that was a very long speech from Atua about how he got pounded. That's definitely the worst pounding I've ever had so far. It probably isn't gonna be the worst in the future. I'm probably gonna have an even worse pounding, which I'm gonna have to talk about for like 20 minutes, but so far, that's the record. And one day in the future, I'll watch this video and I'll like crack up laughing at myself. So Tua, if you do watch this video, one day when you're older, when you were 14, that was a really bad pounding. But I know by the time you're watching this, you're probably like, what are you talking about? That's not a bad pounding. Okay, anyways, guys, thanks for coming along with me. I will see you guys tomorrow, early in the morning. And also, I'm almost done with the logo design for the special edition t-shirts, as well as for the hats and all the cool stuff like that. So if you'd like to check out the campaign, I'll leave the link to it in the description. And I will see you guys tomorrow, early in the morning.